Okay, look, the game isn't even over. Montreal and Ottawa is still going on. This is a pre-recorded video, yes, but I am recording this right after the Kirby Dach and Ridly Greig fight in the third period. I don't even need to finish this game to figure out the narrative that everybody wants to see us talk about, because this game was an absolute crap storm. The referees, the players, everybody involved, I honestly do think that there is some fault with the players in this game, from both sides. The players, the refs, everybody in this should just take a step back. It's the preseason, guys! It's the preseason! Don't need to go out there start killing each other! It's the gosh darn preseason! The Montreal Canadiens, at the time of me speaking into this microphone, are down 4-2. As I had said, Dach and Greig just fought. I don't even care what happens towards the end of the game here, because nobody cares about the game. Nobody cares about the goals. People care about the policing of the game, the hits that we had seen, the fights, the game misconducts, and the physicality. It's a preseason game on October 1st, and we have Senators and Canadiens going out there trying to murder each other and take their heads off. What the hell is going on here, and why are the referees not doing a darn thing to stop it? And when they do something to stop it, it's way too late. This game was it's right now 4-2 Ottawa. It's probably going to end off 4-2. If the Canadiens pull off some sort of a comeback in the last 9 minutes or so, then color me surprised, because this doesn't really feel like that kind of game that warrants a comeback. The biggest things I wanted to talk about in this video were Ridly Greig and Kirby Dach, Arber Xhekaj and Tim Stutzle, Brady Tkachuk, and then Kirby Dach once again. Because this game actually was a 2-0 Montreal lead at one point, and the 2-0 goal was scored by Kirby Dach. The reason that was important is because earlier in the game, Kirby Dach actually left the ice after a suspiciously high hit delivered to Kirby Dach in the shoulder and maybe near the face area from Ridly Greig. Ridly Greig has been a crap disturber for a lot of his NHL playing career. We all remember the slap shot on the empty net against the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's been that guy, and I can't help but respect it, you know? We've made our videos over the years talking about Greig and his development. I was always a fan of him when he was draft eligible and eventually as an Ottawa Senators prospect. He's a solid hockey player who plays a role and he does his job. However, in having the role that he has, sometimes it prompts him to step over the line. And with a hit like this on Kirby Dach, I'm not going to go out there and say that it was the dirtiest thing in the world, but you do kind of see him jump up into Dach a little bit. Of course, though, Greig is a lot smaller than Dach, so the shoulder contact to the head wasn't really as prevalent as it could have been if Dach was just a little bit shorter. Okay, there you go. The Ottawa Senators just scored. They made it 5-2. Jake Sanderson, what a blast from the point there. But Ridly Greig, high hit on Dach. Dach goes down, and then he leaves the game. A lot of Canadiens fans are just sitting here crying their eyes out because not only did Patrik Laine and David Reinbacher just get injured a few days ago, but now it's Kirby Dach too, after he missed the entire season last year. What the hell is going on? The Montreal Canadiens curse lives on, right? Absolute travesty for Montreal. But, this is where things get a little bit easier to stomach. Because at the start of the second period, Kirby Dach comes back. And miraculously, Kirby Dach ends up scoring a goal. Yeah, he makes it 2-0 for the Montreal Canadiens. Great comeback story. I get it. It's the preseason. Nobody should care about the preseason games as much as Sens fans and Canadiens fans seem to be caring about these games. But Kirby Dach, in a comeback story of the preseason, makes his return, makes it 2-0, and there's still a little bit of tension, I would say. Mostly because for Ridly Greig and the hit that he delivered onto Kirby Dach in the first place, the one that took him out of the play, the penalty was interference. That's it. A lot of people thought it should have been more than that. Towards the end of the first period, things were getting really physical. Michael Pezzetta got a misconduct and a roughing call, and you could see for Ridly Greig, he was getting taunted and pushed around. Michael Pezzetta was egging him on, but Greig was absolutely dodging it. He was getting slashed and hacked, but not biting. And you could say that even though Greig is technically doing a good thing by not taking the bait, not biting the bullet, and allowing these Canadiens guys to get frustrated, therefore taking more roughing penalties, at some point you gotta acknowledge that in a preseason game like this, it's just not worth it to take your pride and make it as immovable as possible, like some of these Senators guys did. And eventually Greig did fought. He fought Kirby Dach later in the third, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here. In the second period, Arber Xhekaj ends up delivering a terrible hit to Timmy Stu in a pretty similar fashion, actually, to what Greig did to Kirby Dach. If you play the hits side by side, they're honestly pretty similar hits. The motion is the same, the angle is the same, it's just Arber Xhekaj is a lot bigger than Tim Stutzle. Ridly Greig is a lot smaller than Kirby Dach. And if you look at the slow-mo replay on the Xhekaj and Stutzle hit, I do think that Stutzle ends up catching himself with his own stick a little bit, which caused him to get hurt more than he probably should have, but still, the momentum that Xhekaj had walking into that Stutzle hit, it's irresponsible, it's reckless, it's careless, it's a boneheaded move. And I know a lot of Canadiens fans are going to say, oh yeah, but Xhekaj is just standing up for our guy. You go after our stars, we go after your stars. But that's just it. It's on the referees to make sure that the game is policed to the point that these things don't happen, and the game was already flaring up with high aggression. They weren't doing their jobs to stop it. Ridly Greig was still going out there, and Arber Xhekaj delivers a huge unnecessary hit on Jimmy Stu because of it. Yakemchuk then drops the gloves and starts wailing on Xhekaj. Xhekaj doesn't have his gloves taken off yet. And there's a 5-minute game misconduct for Arber Xhekaj. That's where the Sens score 3 goals. Whoop-de-doo. Nice to see Ottawa getting on the board 3 times on a power play. Nice to see Adam Gaudette, too, going out there with the goal. But as the game continues, there's misconducts handed out to Ridly Greig and Dach. With 10 minutes left in the third period, they ended up fighting. Dach got an interference penalty against Greig after Greig took Dach out in the first period, and then they fought afterwards. They end up with misconducts in this. And ultimately, you look at the benches here, I mean, it doesn't look good. Oh, Oliver Kapanen scored. Nice. Nice to see him getting on the board, giving us something to talk about in a positive way for the Montreal Canadiens. There you go, unassisted goal by Oliver Kapanen. They're within 1, huh? That's interesting. The Canadiens might actually have a chance to pull off a comeback. Who really knows? I mean, whatever. It's 5 minutes to go. They're down by 1. But Michael Pezzetta, misconduct. Kirby Dach, misconduct. Arber Xhekaj, misconduct. Ridly Greig, misconduct. Yakemchuk ended up leaving the game too. This is crazy. It's the preseason, guys. Calm down. Like, I get it, you know, tensions are running high, you want to stand up for your guys, but at the end of the day, it's the preseason. Why are things getting so heated up in the preseason? Now, all these storylines are going to carry over from the preseason into the regular season, and everybody's talking about, oh yeah, Montreal-Toronto, Game 1 of the regular season. Marty St. Louis got to toss out Florian Xhekaj and Arber Xhekaj and Pezzetta and Anderson, and everybody else, they gotta go out there and just start headhunting. Like, it builds such an unnecessary amount of unrelieved stress and tension and a list of things that need to be vindicated and things that happened in the past that need to be paid for and taken out next game. Like, it's so unnecessary. I wanted to watch guys score goals. I wanted to see guys go out there and make great plays and score beautiful passing plays. Not this. Not this. Ridly Greig, unnecessary hit on Kirby Dach. Arber Xhekaj, unnecessary hit on Tim Stutzle. Both hits, careless, reckless, they result in fights. Of course, these hits lead to bigger fights and they lead to more intense feelings, and you know, the game just eventually boils over from there. It takes a completely disastrous turn, and at the end of the day, We don't even care that the game is 4-3 or whatever, or that the Canadiens are going to lose or whatever, or that Oliver Kapanen scored, or that Gaudette or Dach or anybody else scored. That doesn't matter anymore. It's ridiculous now because people are only going to be focusing on the physicality. And that takes away from what the game truly has to offer, in my opinion. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.